Hopper. Yeah, that's right. Jamie, Manti, Willie, and Kyle. Kyle just said something very important, which is a lot of shows today, including ours, eventually, are going to talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're going to get there. But, Kyle, first we got to talk the highlight from what went down on the final Monday Night Football game for the NFL season, but also how prolific the Texans defense looked. That's a very specific way I have to describe that because it was prolific Texans defense, period. They look great.
It really was. And this was a home game for the Steelers. Let's get to it. They won the division, so they get the home game. But the Texans come in with a 9-game win streak. Remember, this team started 0-3. And
the Texans owned the line of scrimmage.
They did. Now, fourth quarter, and then it just started taking over. 10-6. Rodgers just eaten up alive. Will Anderson Jr. was crazy. And Sheldon Rankins just plucks this thing up. And he's
rough.
Yeah, it was a wrap.
Rough for the Steelers.
It's like, all right, so they're going to New England's final. 17-6 now, 3rd and 4. The game's already over, but you're going to go to Christian Kirk, who was a monster.
Monster. Who would have thought?
His life. 6 plays later, first and goal. Woody Marks says, all right, just warm up the buses if you haven't already. Woody Marks was excellent last night, 2021. In a playoff game, rather. Here you go, Aaron Rodgers. Now, this one's picked. That's Kalen Bullock, who does not go down. He's like, I'm going to house this thing. Watch Rodgers try to come over and make the tackle. He kind of runs right by him, and then that's a pick 6. And more is what we're going to get into right now. The Houston Texans' absolute destruction of that guy, of all the guys in the black and gold of the entire stadium. Look at Marquez and Rodgers hugging it out. Texans say you can hug all you want, hug that. 30-6. 30-6. And you suddenly say, oh, it wasn't that close. That was about accurate. 30-6 felt like about as competitive as that game was in the fourth quarter. Let's hear from the quarterbacks. We're going to hear from Rodgers, who was peppered with questions about his future, and then we'll hear from CJ Stroud about that defense.
No, I mean, I'm not going to make any emotional decisions. Disappointed, obviously, such a fun year. A lot of adversity, but a lot of fun. Been a great year, overall in my life in the last year, and this is, a really good part of that, coming here and being a part of this team. So it's disappointing to be sitting here with the season over.
Play again, you want it to be here?
I'm not going to talk about that.
Aaron, how do you approach just what you decide to do next?
Yeah, just get away and then have the right conversations.
Did you enter tonight thinking it could be your final game?
I've answered this before. Every game could be my final game.
Our defense has played like this all year. They've held us up, and, I think, this is one of the best performances I've ever seen. It's crazy to think in the last 3 wild card games I played in, they've always had a pick 6 and, like, some type of 2-turnover game.
All right, CJ, get right, because you got to go to the New England Patriots next weekend and play in Foxborough. That will be a Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern. This is what the entire divisional weekend looks like. 2 games on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. The right teams moved on. These matchups are fantastic. Bills, Broncos, Niners, Seahawks 3.0. Texans, Pats, as I mentioned before, and then Rams at Bears. Kyle, you going to that game, right?
Yeah, TBD, Jamie.
All right.
We'll see.
All
If you
right.
spring for the private jet.
I'll talk to my people for your people. All right, let's move on and stay actually with this game. We're going to get to Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers. A lot of shows are going to open today with what's the future for Mike Tomlin? What's the future for Rodgers? We'll discuss that, but we have to specifically point out what happened in that dominating win for the Texans. Manti, there is not a better person I can go to ask about this Texans defense right now than you.
Well, I said on this show, James, that I look at the Texans defense, and that is a defense that can win them a Super Bowl. And if you didn't know it, just click on that tape from yesterday. Now, you could go through all of the stats. You can go through all of the schematics. The details of a dominant defense is this. Number one, you rarely see a receiver or anybody running wide open. I mean, Derek Stingley Jr. had one where he was getting a little anxious in the beginning with DK Metcalf. Luckily, DK Metcalf dropped the ball. But other than that, you rarely see a receiver. They're extremely athletic. They can run sideline to sideline, and they can cover. Then that coverage in the back. Everybody talks about this rush, and it is a nightmare for any quarterback to go against this rush. But there's a marriage between rush and coverage. You've seen so many times last night where Aaron Rodgers had to hold on to this ball longer than he wanted to. Now, when you marry that up with the rush that they have, you get the Houston Texans defense. It was so nice and so beautiful. It's like a buffet for me to go to and watch of beautiful defense. So Willie, I know it was a rough night for the Steelers, but it was a beautiful night for those who love defensive football.
Yeah, it was a rough night indeed, but habits define who you are. One of the sore spots for the Pittsburgh Steelers is their lack of ability to convert on third down. They were 40% on the season, and overall, last night, it popped up once again. This was the night they were going to have to sustain drives and really put points on the board, especially when you're given the opportunities they were given by CJ Stroud and the Texans offense. They were 2 for 14 on third down, 0 for 2 in the red zone, and only 175 yards. The run game can never set the table. And what you saw was this Texans defense not only see ball, get ball, but they were erasing guys off the field. They erased DK Metcalf off the field. They erased Jaylen Warren off the field. And they left Aaron Rodgers and his offensive line to really fight for survival through the whole game. There's so much to take from this game, man. It was an emotional loss. It felt like the end of a team who was riding the wings of destiny, and it was fate behind it. Man, this got bad, and my heart breaks for Aaron Rodgers because I really felt like this team grew up with him, and he fell in love with the Steeler culture. It just ended on Monday night. Tough out for the Steelers.
Yeah,
KB.
They were down in flames, and we're going to talk a lot about the Steelers and the fallout, and Willie has really unique insight because he knows everyone there, and he's been a Steeler before. So a lot of Steelers talk, Rodgers, Tomlin, everything is coming. In the meantime, you know who wishes we were doing Steeler talk right now, and we should talk more and more Aaron Rodgers to open the show? CJ Stroud. All right, let me just put this out there. CJ had a rough night, especially the first half. And this is a very good player who is now undefeated in the wild card round. That's very impressive. He's 3-0 in the wild card round for such a... But I don't know what the hell he was doing in the first half. I'm hoping, guys, that he got this out of his system and that he's going to go on and play good playoff games like he has in the past. But it was like the best thing the Steelers had going for him in this game was CJ Stroud because he just kept turning the ball over. It was a bad pick. It was two, kind of clownish fumbles. It was really strange. This is not CJ Stroud. What was he doing? That's what I'm saying. I know they won, and they won by 24 points. Why are you hammering the quarterback? Because CJ Stroud is better than this, and he's going to have to play way better than this the next round. Now, the defense. First of all, terrifying defense. Willie and I were talking about it. It felt like they had 18 guys out.
It felt like 83 guys.
Did they have 11 on the field? Is that
all in white jerseys?
That they had that few people?
I know.
And I know I love Drake May, and I love the Patriots, but Will Anderson. These guys are so scary and so fast and so aggressive. And I want to shout out one of them. How good was Jaylen Pitre last night? Just have a conversation about Jaylen.
Oh, dog.
Let me tell you something. This guy was not voted All-Pro. I had an All-Pro vote. I voted for him. I guess my vote did not count enough because he did not get it. I cannot believe it. He took over the game from his position, which is very difficult, in the slot. Number 5 was all over the field. He was terrifying. He was screaming. He was angry. He was vicious. Look at that.
They went after him,
He's going to get a letter about it. I don't even care. And I have to tell you something else. He makes that Guardian cap look good. I like that thing. I'm telling you, it's not all. I know Romeo Doubs seems like the face of the Guardian cap right now. Romeo Doubs got eliminated last Saturday night. Jaylen Pitre right now with that bonnet. The Guardian cap is having a moment. And I almost feel like it's become this thing that's ironically cool. It's almost like Crocs or something. You're like, oh, Crocs are so nerdy. How could you wear Crocs? And then you slide on some Crocs. You're like, damn, these are comfortable.
Yeah.
And I see other guys wearing them and other girls wearing them. I think that the Guardian cap is kind of cool because when you see players that good in those spots going into Pittsburgh and destroying the Steeler offense, wearing that thing, you're like, all right, maybe I'll throw one of those things on. And by the way, it's protecting me better. I don't need to say this. No one told me to say this. I just watched it. I'm like, it could be a tough look, but damn it, Jaylen Pitre makes it look good. So I tip my hat or your cap to you, Jaylen Pitre. You should have been All-Pro. I did all I could do, and you're proving everyone who didn't vote for you wrong last night because you looked awesome, and that Texans defense.
You balled out.
Sometimes we say defenses are great. Their defense is actually scary, where if they're going against your team, you kind of wince and when you drop back to pass because they're going to come through the TV like Rumble Vision. It's
like the
crazy.
Grudge.
Yes, like the Grudge. You're going to crawl out of the well. Jaylen Pitre is crawling out of the well, coming at you with the hair. And you're like, oh, my God, get out of here. He's like, Will Anderson, Daniel Hunter, they're crawling. And you're like, oh, my God, stop playing that stupid videotape. Oh, it's terrifying. Oh.
KB.
Oh, my God.
KB, you said
the ring.
You said this word, wince, and then you also said cap, and that brought two things together for me, because cap is another word for captain. One of the captains of that Houston Texans team, who you talked about, CJ Stroud, and he does a lot of wincing in that pocket. And so when I watched CJ Stroud, I was trying to figure out, okay, what happened? What happened from the rookie year when he had one of the best years as a quarterback, as a rookie, in the past 2 years? And I came up with this, two things. Number one, last year he was the second most sacked quarterback in the NFL. On top of that, he was the second most hit quarterback in the NFL. One thing that CJ Stroud did very, very well in his rookie year is he threw the ball down the field. When you watch CJ Stroud in the pocket today or last night, he looks very, very nervous. He's picking the ball up, he's fumbling the ball, and even when he's running around, he just looks like he doesn't want to be in there. And so I know that the Houston only schematically for CJ Stroud, but in his brain, I remember Caleb Williams' talk in his post-game speech when he gave the game ball to his head coach, Ben Johnson, and in that he got a little emotional. And he talked about Ben Johnson and his effect on him personally, because we know that Caleb Williams went through a lot his rookie year. That's the type of change that needs to happen for the Houston Texans, because I would hate for this beautiful defense to go anywhere else but the Super Bowl because of an offense that has been struggling and wincing a little bit, Jamie.
Will Anderson has said that this is the best defense he has played on, and he came from a lot of good teams at Alabama, and he's been 3 years in the NFL, 3 years in the postseason, and DeMeco Ryans now extends his win streak in the first round of the playoffs to 4-0. One with the 49ers as a defensive coordinator, and then first wins for the Texans all 3 weekends the last 3 years. Willie Colon, the further we get into January, the sooner you want to spin the dial forward on what the future matchup looks like. So real quick, you're a Patriots offensive lineman. You're in that room. How do you even go about stopping these guys that are coming at you from the Texans?
You got to have a run game. Bottom line, you saw it early with the Steelers, man. When they started owning the line of scrimmage, you started seeing Aaron Rodgers use his cadence as a weapon. They started to lean on that Texas defensive line, and then all of a sudden the Texans woke up and they said, uh-oh, we got to win this game. They turned it up a notch, and the Steelers can never match their intensity. If you're talking about the left side of the Patriots offensive line, led by Will Kemp, Drake May out, and make sure that one thing happens. He's not peeling himself off the turf like Justin Herbert did. This is going to be important for this Pats offensive line going to this game. Your physicality is going to have to ramp up a notch if you want to survive this Texans defensive line. KB.
I was thinking about when we started talking about the Texans maybe 6-7 weeks ago when their defense was really starting cooking, and we were talking about Stroud again. And I just remember thinking at the time, with this defense, with this pass rush, I think CJ Stroud is the most pivotal player in the entire NFL. What does that mean? Like, CJ Stroud dictates a lot of what's going to happen in these playoffs. If he plays well, I think they're going to the Super Bowl because of that defense. If CJ Stroud plays well, I think the Texans are going to the Super Bowl. If he doesn't, if he's average or if he's shaky like he was last night, like, he determines so much. They're not going. He's been given this incredible weapon on the other side of the ball, and that's why he hyped them so much last night afterwards. Like, I think there's some quarterbacks that they're going to play fine. They're going to be right down the middle, and I know what I can get. I don't know what I'm getting from CJ Stroud right now. I don't know what I'm getting from next week. It could be great. It could be not. He determines how this tournament is going to go, because that defense and those front four, and it's usually just 4. It's not 5 coming. It's just 4, and they drop 7. CJ Stroud holds a lot of power in his hands right now to determine how these playoffs go. And I know there's Josh Allen, there's all these other quarterbacks. Stroud is the one that I think is a huge X factor in these whole playoffs, because I don't know, and he determines a lot.
Last week before Patriots-Chargers, we had NFL Films footage of Mike Vrabel tackling Harbaugh. I need on the same field.